I'm William Weber. I own Mutiny Tattoos and Piercings. Been here for a year. I like a lot of the traditional Japanese. I like black and gray work. I like old school stuff that you kind of get used to seeing as tattoos. It's whatever I'm into at the time, and I guess I enjoy when I pull something off that's like pretty awesome and they're reacting really well with it, and I'm liking what I've done and that feeling you get. So yeah, in a way, that's what I mostly go for. Some tattoos you got to pull them apart and kind of study of how they were done in terms of what kind of lines were used, shading, different colors, and how they were put together. Everyone has sort of a way that they color and shade their work so that it feels good for them, looks really good. So whatever style or whatever you're attempting to do, you got to be able to break the artwork down into all the steps it took to make it and then kind of rebuild it again. It's nice when you get nice clients. It's hard to work with people. Collaborating is a difficult thing. There are limitations to what a good tattoo is and what you can do, and you try to stay within those boundaries while making somebody happy at the same time. It's harder to do than people think. So when you're in it and really in it and you're under that much pressure, you either can take it and you do it, or you just can't and you don't. And so it looks easy and crazy and fun, but then when you really get down to it, it's so much harder than it appears to be.
My name is Kristen Weber, and I am the lead piercer here at Mutiny Tattoo, Piercing and Vape. I've been piercing for 8.5 years now, and I really like what I do. The helix or lobes are the easiest to do. The rook I did earlier today is one of the more difficult ones, just for the size of most ears are usually tiny, so it's hard to get into some of the smaller areas. But I'd have to say my favorite piercing is an industrial to do, which is this one here that goes a straight bar from top to bottom. It's my favorite one so far. The most difficult part is to have to tell a client that they can't have it because their anatomy doesn't work for the piercing, or they have too many blood vessels, and if the blood vessels are there, then it prolongs the healing process. So we really do try to avoid any blood vessels as possible, because otherwise you're doubling your healing rate. But besides that, the hardest place is either a rook or a dieth piercing, just because it's just an itty-bitty tiny flap of skin right in your ear, and you don't get a lot of room to be able to pierce, and you gotta use a little more tricks to be able to do some of those piercings. A client has to trust their piercer or their tattoo artist, because especially with piercing and tattoos, you have a one-shot try to pierce somebody, and if the person's not comfortable, they're gonna move, or they're just gonna shake, or there's a higher chance of them their adrenaline rush will make them crash, or they'll either pass out or they go white. There's numerous things. So we just need to have a good client relationship with people to get them to trust us and know that we know what we're doing.
Working for a boss, anyone, I mean, who are they as people and who are you working for? So after a while, like, the first guy I worked for had a lot more problems that I could handle, and I decided I didn't want to be around them kind of problems, so I left. Even though I didn't want to, it was like my real first ticket into the industry, so to leave was hard, but I wasn't going to get what I wanted out of the deal. Next place I went to was great for a long time. And then same thing, you work for someone and they can change everything about where you work and try and tell you how to work. After a while, I didn't want to work for anybody. So it wasn't long before people were trying to get a hold of me for tattoos, and I told them where I was, and they just would come out. I got the health board, the city, everything to inspect my house and make sure it's all good and legit that way. And I had people come over all the time. So I spent almost 2.5 years, 3 years in my house. before I opened this place up, and I had planned right from the beginning to open, so it's just a matter of saving up money and getting things in position so that you could do it. And trying to find a location that would be suitable for what we were looking for was difficult. Hardest part about it all, once you find a location, turning it into the finished product. We're still working on it. It's been a year and we're still doing it. I did take on an ambitious place. This place was once a dojo and there was nothing in here, so everything was built from the ground up. Plumbing was put in. All the electrical was done. This was just an empty room, so sometimes that's the hard part. If you choose the right location, it could be an easy reno and do a tattoo shop. Laundromats are good for that. Ex-laundromats are great for that.
It took a lot longer to build the place than expected, to go with all the new health board regulations, the city bylaws, the permits that are involved. A month and a half process, we thought, ended up turning out to be about a 3.5 month process. And that was, I'd have to say, the biggest drag of the whole thing.
I'd like to open up another one. I don't know if I'm staying in Kingston for good permanently in that sense, but I think I'd eventually like a full-on shop for myself there up closer to Ottawa where I used to live, as a retirement thing when I'm after 50 kind of deal, when I start to slow down, take money out of this and open up another one.
The future really would be just to keep our name getting out there, getting a good profile with people, that we are friendly, clean place. Don't be afraid to ask questions. We will, if we don't know the answer, we will find the answer for you. If not, we know, at least for me, for the piercing aspect, I know most of the answers, but there's always surprises out there.
Well, it's nice to be working in a place that's mine. It's in that sense, I'm working for myself now. I'm not working for other people. I work for clients in that way, if really clients are the bosses. But there's not one thing I like in particular otherwise, but I'm beginning to build my future, and at the end of it all, I'm hoping that this type of thing is gonna take care of me in my semi-retirement.